Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well this week. It's Gemini season. That's good news for those of us with a lot of air in our charts at the very least, but in general, hopefully this means things are going to be a little bit lighter for all of us, moving away from that heavier sort of Taurian energy, which has its benefits. But we move on to Gemini now. We also have Mercury in Gemini, which is a lovely, lovely transit. So you can expect to be much sharper, much quicker in terms of thinking, much clearer potentially as well. If you're here, please say hi in the chat. Let me know how you're doing. Please remember to like the video. And we'll get started in a moment and get an idea of what we're going to be dealing with over the next month. And please remember, these are predictive readings. So, you know, you can sit there and say, well, that's not happening yet, but it's not supposed to be. This is what is coming up over the next month. These are our kind of areas of work, focus, what we can expect to be experiencing. We'll take a nice deep breath in. And just feel that just cleanse you. Breathe out. Get used to the lighter air of Gemini season. Obviously, do stay grounded during this season as well. That's also important. If you're not used to the air, you can sort of float away quite easily. I'll get started in a moment by pulling cards for the collective, and then we'll move on to the 12 signs. Hi to everyone just arriving. Hi, Asma. Hi, LV. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Sarah. Please remember to like the video, everyone. And we'll get a look at what the collective is going to be dealing with over the course of the next month. So the picture. Okay. Okay, I want to say it feels like a reprieve, if that makes sense. If you've kind of been going through it, if you've been dealing with anxiety, worries, maybe some conflicts within your life or your relationships, there's a bit of a space for a reprieve. And that's not a bad thing at this moment in time. I feel like so many folks have been getting bogged down or wound up or this kind of thing, and it's just a bit lighter, and there's a bit of space for enjoyment as well. And like literally, I think for a lot of people, especially in the northern hemisphere, the sun is shining, the days are longer. It's just a bit easier. It's just a bit easier, and that's probably overdue for a lot of us. First card coming up for the collective is the 8 of Cups. And the sense that I get with the 8 of Cups here is that it's kind of like leaving a lot of troubles behind, or allowing them to fade into the background, and be able to just sort of trust in being guided somewhere nicer. It feels emotionally calmer because we're moving ourselves to places that are not going to trigger us so much, or we're withdrawing from what does. The things where maybe we've beaten our head on a brick wall too much. No, it's just like, I haven't got time for that. It's not worth it. I'm going to go and chill and be around people who get me instead. So it's that sort of environment, and I just feel sort of like time spent with friends and loved ones out in the sunshine being a sort of theme that we can work with that's going to carry us through a lot. Underpinning this is the Queen of Pentacles. So I feel like some of our worries have been financial worries, health concerns, and this has been triggering some of that conflict. It's been projecting outwards in that sense, and that's why there is this need to ground throughout this time still. You can't just float away much as it might be nice to, but I also feel like we don't have to overthink in the ways that we have, and nor do we have to give ourselves a hard time for the fact that we've had some difficulties, because a lot of this stuff, it's been like you've been struggling, but then the inner voices come up, you start to give yourself a hard time. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you more together? Why this? Why this? And the answer is because it's really intense, or it has been really intense this year. It can be a struggle to breathe at times. So there is this need to just accept to an extent, but not to place ourselves in situations that trigger us too much, and not to fixate in the way that we have been. And we have been fixating a lot, I feel, on that stuff. Oh, this is wrong. How am I going to get through this? What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about this? There's kind of a need to come back and recognize that we're also supported throughout this process. No, it's not always straightforward or easy, but recognizing that support allows us to be a bit lighter, a bit more forward thinking. It allows us to play around with other ideas, but it also allows us just to enjoy ourselves a bit. We've been in the space of the Queen of Swords, and we're moving away from that. And part of that space of the Queen of Swords has been trying to think too far ahead or too broadly. Trying to be like, I need to have all the answers now. For myself, for those around me, for the world at large. What are we going to do? I need the solutions. I need the answers. When we don't have them, we've been getting very down, beating ourselves up, giving ourselves a hard time, being quite cold to ourselves in places. And there's a need to be more supportive to ourselves with the Queen of Pentacles. But what we don't need to do is hyper-analyze and check every little thing and expect to have everything solved at the moment. That's not the time that we're in. Things are a lot more fluid and a lot more transient than that. And there's an extent to which we need to kind of just embrace some of the uncertainty and still allow ourselves to live within it. So in the present, we have the devil coming up. And I don't feel like this has to be a bad thing just because it's the devil and everyone's like, oh, it's not that. That's not what I'm getting here at all. What I'm getting here is being able to just enjoy ourselves. Be in spaces with people where we can enjoy ourselves, let our hair down and stop worrying quite so much. I know it's easy to say that, but in practice, when you're in motion, when you're doing things, when you're around the right people, when you're outside in the sunshine, get outside in the sunshine quite seriously. You really need that at this time. You're going to feel more supported and less troubled. It doesn't mean things go away, but I feel like we've been pushing ourselves so hard to be on top of so many things, giving ourselves a hard time when we're not, maybe taking it out on each other as well, that we do need that release. We do need that relaxation. And that in turn, I feel, is then going to lead us to be able to come up with much more kind of grounded and realistic plans, goals, directions to move in, so we don't have to think too far ahead. And we're also then able to just put things together slowly, go slowly, put things into place slowly. And what Gemini energy does is it just allows us to change our perspective, that bit. Very, very simple. Gemini likes changing perspective, viewing things from different angles. And I feel you're going to be able to do that, and we're going to do that collectively as we just step back from the overwhelmingness. Take it much, much easier. We then move towards this space of the Prince of Pentacles. And I feel this is all about being able to come back to ourselves. And then what is more immediate? What are the more modest things that we can be working on? Putting it together, recognizing our successes, where we get to. And it does need to be like that, because at the moment things are set up to overwhelm you, and that we've been falling into that trap, focusing on what isn't in place or what we haven't figured out. And that's real, but you don't get there by fixating on it. You get there by doing something else. I feel a lot of movement, a lot of company, a lot of times in the sun, and just the rest that we need now that we can finally do that is going to move us in that direction. That's kind of the picture for the collective. It's not mega intense, but nor does it have to be. Like, we're allowed a break at times. No, the things we're working towards and dealing with don't go away, but we are genuinely supported, and we are heading towards something. But we'll get there by feel. We'll get there by feel and by following what's in our hearts. And part of that is going to be much, much easier if we just allow ourselves to enjoy ourselves a bit. Stop giving ourselves and each other such a hard time. It needs to be much, much lighter. And I would say with the devil as well, yes, there is oppression in the world. We all feel it. We absolutely do. It's a very, very real thing. And we can see this with the attacks on reproductive rights at the moment. We can see this with attacks on religious freedoms in various countries. We can see it with attempts to clamp down on LGBT rights in various places. All of that is really, really real. And yes, it needs a response. However, it's also designed to overwhelm us in that sense. So yes, people are going to be organizing, responding to that as well. But take it easy when you're engaging as well. And watch out for attempts to short circuit that process, to analyze things in really simple terms that don't take into account more complex dynamics that are giving rise to them, what it means, why it is that there's an attempt to clamp down on rights at this time, what it is that government's actually trying to do, what's motivating them, which is control, which is keeping things as they are, keeping things entrenched. All of that is coming up at the moment, and that's coming up with the devil there as well. And yes, a lot of us are going to be having to work on doing something about that. But again, the pressure is there then to have answers to everything about how we do that. And that's not realistic. It's not that time yet. We're not there yet. Yes, we'll defend ourselves. Yes, we'll protect ourselves. But we also need to work hard on those internalized aspects of that, the bits in our head and in our bodies as well that keep us down because we've internalized those messages. That's where the control really sort of comes from, is when they've limited your ideas, your capacity, that kind of thing. And I feel like, yes, we're going to work on that, but we also need a break at times. You know, you can't punish yourself for not being able to do everything in the world about that either, because it's designed to trap you into that. And then it gets locked in. We turn on the people around us as well, rather than seeing this as a bigger dynamic with all of us having work to do, having shit to clear out, and needing to bring in fresh ideas, fresh plans, new ways of doing things that we need, again, not to be too overarching over. Yes, there are real threats, but there's also a huge number of people doing stuff about that. And we're not going to see exactly where this is going just yet, but how we treat each other within this is going to be absolutely vital. That's the collective picture for Gemini season, and some of that is ongoing, but some of it is new. But if you catch yourself in rigid thinking at this time, the energy is there for you to shift perspective on it. It's absolutely there to play with different ideas, to try to understand where other people are coming from. And if we get locked in hard against each other, we're gonna stifle that. And that's more dangerous than anything else. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to move on now to the 12 signs. I'm going to start off with Aries. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. For Gemini season, and remember everyone, these are predictive readings. So watch out for this over the course of the next month and check back regularly to see how you're working with the energies. Aries. Hi to everyone who just tuned in. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Chelsea. Please remember to like the video, everyone. Please remember to share the video. That helps a huge amount. Hi, Nebresha. Aries. Let's see where you're heading to. Thank you so much, Nebresha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I talked about needing to get outside in good company, enjoy ourselves, and this is coming up very strongly for you, Aries. And if you have an Aries sun, moon, or rising in your life, you might want to be reaching out to them at this time. Aries is quite fearsome, afraid, down, kind of run down from the worry, from the anxiety, from the stress at this moment in time. Coming up with the 9 of Swords. So, and they may not be showing it on the surface. You might not be showing this on the surface, Aries. So check in with the Aries in your life. And if you are an Aries, there is help for you at this time. You see, Aries is very, very independent, and therefore right now I feel like Aries feels quite isolated, quite alone, and maybe attempting to find loads of solutions all at once, but they're not working, they're not coming, and so you're getting more and more down, giving yourself a harder and harder time. You need a break from it, Aries. You really, really need a break from it. So yeah, you're coming in as the 9 of Swords, but what you don't need to be doing in response to it is trying to be a Knight of Wands. You don't have to have all the solutions, nor do you have to run around trying to fix everyone else's problems, Aries. I feel like that's like the coping method that you might go for, and that's not going to work for you at this time, Aries. You need a break. You need a break because you're drained, you're run down, and you're quite fearful. We have the 5 of Wands and the 7 of Wands showing up for you, Aries. So you feel You feel very under it, very embattled. Now, there's a big danger here, which is that somebody offers you some help and you fly off the handle at them because you don't like to be seen as vulnerable or human, you know, or fallible or anything like it. You like to admit having a bad time, but it seems like you are. And so there is this need then to accept that you're going to need to find different ways of doing things, new ways of doing things, different solutions. But the problem is, I feel like you're so guarded with the Seven of Wands. You're so guarded, but what you actually need to be guarding against is not those people who care about you and want to support you and help you. What you need to be guarding against is your own inner critic, your own difficult voices, the things that tell you you're not enough or not doing enough, because you are. It needs you to accept help from people around you. It needs you to allow people to step into your life. It needs you to step away from a combative stance as well. And it moves you towards a space of the Four of Wands. Lots of fire in this spread for you, Aries. But it moves you towards a space of the Four of Wands. Regaining a footing. Regaining a footing, Aries. That's what you're going to be doing over the course of this month. It's not dramatic. It's not groundbreaking. But that's probably for the best because you're quite drained. So let someone else come in and help you, pick up the slack for you a little bit. That's going to be helping you. That's going to be supporting you. And there are people who will support you, but they're going to support you by encouraging you to be around them, by encouraging you to be in a space with them, to help move you into a lighter and less anxious mental space. They're not going to come in and fight all your battles for you. They're not coming in for you to warn them about either, but they are coming in to support you, and you need to be able to accept that support this month. This is very, very important for you, for your development, for your relationships and where you're going, because you're going to find this much more stable place of the Four of Wands when you do. I hope that makes sense for you, Aries. The next sign is going to be Taurus. Hi, Beck. Hi, Mahari. Hi, Super Angry Koala. Hi, Jade. I'll be going through the signs in order. So that was Aries. I run through from Aries to Pisces, and then there'll be time for some questions at the end. Next sign is Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising for Gemini season. Taurus. Taurus. Okay, Taurus. You're emerging from your own season in a much, much stronger place, Taurus. And there's obviously still plenty of Taurian energy out there at this time. I feel like you've been doing okay financially and spiritually, and you're feeling quite supported at the moment. You're also doing the very typical Taurus thing of wanting to stay exactly where you are. Well, this is okay. This is okay. So I want to stay put now. This is all right. Don't have to do too much more. Just carry on as I am, no problem. But you need to kind of be sharing some of what's come to you, some of the blessings, the abundance that have been coming to you. It's time to share them with others. It's time to connect with others. There may be new collaborations for you in terms of work this month, Taurus. New ways of doing things, new, more personalized ways of doing things. But I feel like you have connections to make to other people, especially in terms of work, but also you're going to bring your kind of the sort of good things that you've received into your relationships as well. So your heart needs to be much more open at this time, Taurus. You have the Three of Pentacles showing up as where you're coming in. So things are going okay materially, financially. You're quite supported. You might be in pretty useful health at the moment, and certainly doing better than you were a little while ago. And something I'm drawn to here, so give me a second. Okay. Some of you might have a boss who's been giving you a hard time, pushing you really hard. If it's not a boss, it might be a client who you're contracting for, this sort of thing. Someone quite demanding who I'm getting here, and you're just sort of like, no, we're fine, we're doing our thing, leave us to it. Or you might be being quite demanding on somebody else if you're in a kind of a boss or a senior role as well. So you need to just chill a bit there and let people get on with their work. I feel like that's something that they're giving me. So that if that hasn't happened yet, that might be something that you're going to be working with. It's not about the Four of Wands. So you've had good stuff come in, but doesn't mean you've made it and now you don't have to do anything else, basically. You need to be more outgoing, more open, more creative, while sustaining what you've already done, and whilst not falling back into old ways that are quite self-critical or down or depressive. And obviously these are emotional things, like obviously if you're dealing with more severe mental health problems, obviously those are real things that you're going to work through, but tendencies in this direction you're going to need to watch out for. So you have the Two of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands showing up. And what I feel from this with the Two of Pentacles is, you know, you don't have to push yourself at 1,000,000 miles per hour or anything, but nor can you just sort of stay put with where you are. You need to take what's come into your life that is good and really kind of move forward with it over the course of this month. And with the Knight of Wands as well as your advice card, I feel like it needs you to use what you've drawn from, use that energy as an impetus to do a bit more. So I feel like you get new ideas on where you can move forward, this kind of thing. I also feel like you just need to trust in your ability to move on the plans that you've made or the plans that you're coming up with at this time, because this feels very, very creative for you. I also feel like you have a lot of energy in this month, far more energetic than you might usually be. So you can use that to go outside. You can use that to connect with other people. You can use that to help drive other people. Remember, if you're in this kind of boss role towards people, you're not using it to go down a clipboard and be all critical. You can use it to encourage. You have the ability to encourage. I feel that as you do that, that is going to help you against a kind of tendency that you might have to sort of sink back into yourself, to get down or whatever. So it needs action from you this month, basically. Your final card is the Dragon Tamer. So there's self-discipline required here to actually do the work. Not to push yourself too hard, but to do the work, to be consistent, to be generous with others, and to be able to act when you need to push forward when you need to, Taurus. If you catch yourself dropping back, if you catch yourself taking it a bit too easy this month, if you catch yourself taking it out on anyone else, or there's someone else taking their stuff out on you or being critical of you, it's about being able to control your response to that and direct it, because you're going to be fired up, you're going to be fiery in relation to it, but you've got to direct that constructively, creatively, and warmly at this time, Taurus, and across this month. I hope that makes sense for you. The next sign is going to be Gemini. Gemini, the sun has entered your sign. Mercury, your ruler, has entered your sign. For those of you who are Gemini suns, happy birthday. Let's see how this week, this month rather, looks for you. Hi Janine, hi Teresa. Gemini. Gemini sun, moon and rising. Hi Alison. Okay. Okay. It's quite dreamy, but quite deep for you this month, Gemini. And I feel that big changes in your life. So you're normally very, very light-hearted. You're the joker. You're, you know, the one who doesn't take things too seriously, except when you do, because duality. But there's a bit of change coming in your life at this time, and I don't feel like it's as bad as the cards might suggest, but you have to allow yourself to be carried to something new. I feel like you might be holding on to some old stuff, old dreams, maybe unrealistic ideas, things that are not quite working, but you kind of stuck to them, and you need to be a bit more flexible than that this month, Gemini. You're coming in with death. So these are changes coming your way. These are changes coming your way, and you need to attend to them. This is about your growth. This is about your transition into new places, new relationships, new ways of being. And I feel that the energy is supportive to you making big changes this month, Gemini. I feel I feel that it's much lighter and easier. It's a smooth transition so long as you don't resist it. What it's not for you is the Three of Cups. So it's not just, no one cares, whatever, I'm just going to go out and celebrate, party, get drunk, everything else. I feel like if you try to do that, it's not quite going to fit, not quite going to work, because some of your connections, relationships, these could be friendships, they don't have to be love relationships. They might be a little bit old, expired. You might not be quite feeling it. So that in itself isn't quite going to be enough for you. And hence these shifts this month. 10 of Swords, Ace of Swords. This is about how hard you fight and battle against the need to shift, because with death coming in, things are changing, things are shifting. That's a major arcana. You can't resist that. There is a need for you to shift. Sun goes down, a new one comes up. It might feel like loss in that sense. For some of you, you're going to have a relationship that comes to an end. But it will, if where that's the case, it'll be one that's been going this way for a long time. And it's about letting it die, letting it go. For others of you, it's other dreams, other plans, other projects that are going to have to sort of go at this time. So this sort of fades out. And you can't overthink this. You just need to allow that to go, because new doors are going to open really quickly. Ace of Swords is also right there. Sun goes down. It's a difficult loss, yes. But you don't get trapped there. You don't stay there. The light breaks through really quickly. And you're actually transforming through this. You're much freer as a result of it. This feels a very Gemini energy because of the lightness, because of the freedom, because of your ability to see that that's not the end, it's the beginning of something better. And what is fading out is stuff that wasn't sustainable or wasn't going somewhere. But you're going to start moving towards something that is. Your final card is the Ten of Pentacles. I feel like what's moving out of your life, and so these could be friendships, could be love relationships, could be projects, could be areas of work, or even career that you're having to relinquish at this time, or at least dramatically change your approach to. It's going to open you up to something that can become more real, more stable, more sustainable, with the 10 of Pentacles. So when we go back to the collective and we look at the Devil in the present, that's the stuff that you were tied into, if you like. And the collective was with the 8 of Cups in the mind. So yes, there's stuff that you're moving away from, but it's opening you up to something so much more stable, so much more fulfilling, so much more comfortable. So if you feel like you're battling against the tide, you're fighting a losing battle at this time, Gemini, or over this month, it's about releasing it and trusting that the light that breaks through is going to take you somewhere that means far, far more to you. There are good things coming for you, but you have to release the obstructions to them, which are your old attachments, old plans. I hope that makes sense for you, Gemini. The next sign is going to be Cancer. Hi, Philippa. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising for Gemini season. Hi, Stamoku. Thank you, Philippa. I'm really glad I was able to help. Cancer. And please remember everyone to like and share the video. Thank you, Lisa. Cancer. Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising for this Gemini season. Okay, Cancer. Okay. Big heart pain for Cancers over the course of this month. And I feel like this may be specific to some Cancers rather than all Cancers watching, but it feels pain. It feels like something hits you really, really hard. And you just sort of almost close down. And then you kind of feel like other people are in the way. I feel like you might try and take out your grief or your heartache or your difficulty on other people, Cancer. So this is quite a tricky energy for you to work with, and we need to ensure that you're not just projecting and harming and damaging and sabotaging relationships, and you get the idea, okay? Because I feel like whatever is coming in, you're really taking it to heart. It's painful, hits you really hard. It's not the end of the story, it's not the whole picture, but you might treat it as though it is. Queen of Swords is showing up. You're hurt, you're upset, you're angry. You might feel like going on a bit of a rampage, and it's best not to. Okay. You have this tendency here. I feel like you're going to perceive everyone as interfering in the way of you, and you might just be, it's like you're shooting at everyone to push them away. Don't do that, okay? It's not about the Seven of Cups. So you feel like, I can't trust anyone now. Could be a bit of paranoia that comes in with this for you, Cancer. So this is quite serious because you've been hit hard, but we need to avoid you taking it out on other people. Seven of Swords is showing up. I feel like you need to be careful who you speak to about this stuff, the way that it affects you. And I feel that for your own protection and their protection from you and your response at this time, because you may fly off the handle and you're not required to. The Seven of Swords here for me advises you to find a bit of privacy with this stuff, to work through it. And to allow your process to move over time. You see, you're coming in as a Queen of Swords, quite bitter, quite angry, quite quick to judge as well. And there's this need to come back to your own process. There's a need for you to, instead of being a Queen of Swords, to move more into a space of the Queen of Cups. So yes, you're going to feel everything, but there is a deeper meaning to this. And what's more, you're able to kind of guide yourself through, talk yourself through, help yourself through, and work through it with select people. I feel like, okay, so what is hitting you really hard, and it feels like, it's like the scales fall away from your eyes. Okay, so something, it's not that something didn't turn out to be what you thought it was. It's more that you get additional information which changes your views on something, or that something which felt really good just pulls away really suddenly, really rapidly. I feel like there is an outside influence that does this. And you kind of then want to sort of blame all over the place, or you want to sort of spit the dummy and do all of this, and you need to avoid that. I also feel like you want to pull away from this, but actually you don't need to. Okay, it's coming now. Okay. Big heartache, big shock. Oh my goodness. What do I do now? What do I do now? But you need to not be in that Seven of Cups space of what do I do now? And you need not to go berserk with the Queen of Swords. You need some time to work through it by yourself with Seven of Swords and with the Queen of Cups. Feel the emotions of it, but don't assume that that's the end of the story. I feel like, okay, let's say this is a relationship as it is for some of you. Your partner really lets you down, or you suddenly realize you feel differently about them, or whatever else. And you're just, oh, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I feel like you need to work harder on this. Talk about your feelings, yes, but do so in a way that guides you through. I feel like a lot of you will need to consult some kind of spiritual guide, healer, shaman, psychic, whatever, in order to understand what this is for, where it's going. But actually, this is leading you back towards this situation again as the month goes on. So don't be so quick to cut and run, and don't be so quick to tell the whole world about how awful this situation is, how it's all fucked, how it's all ruined, because I don't feel like it is. You're going to get new ways of working through this and working on this later in the month. Very strange to be giving this advice, but if it feels mostly like you don't give up on something, don't assume something is over or that you've hit the worst, because your final card is the Seven of Pentacles. I feel there's more life, more stability coming. And I feel it's to this situation which you might otherwise want to relinquish or kind of hit the detonator on too quickly. Give it more time. Give yourself more time. Don't take it out on anyone else. Don't look to blame. Feel your way through this. It feels quite turbulent, feels quite emotional. I also feel new stability and new ways of going towards the end of the month. I hope that makes sense for you, Cancer. Hi to everyone just tuning in. The next sign is going to be Leo. Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising for Gemini season. And for those asking, I work through the signs in order, and then following that, I will take a few questions from those people who I'm drawn to. Obviously, if you'd like to make sure I read for you in detail, you're welcome to book me. My details for that are just in the box below. Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising for Gemini season. Okay, Leo. Okay. You've been feeling a bit without. I feel like, what are they telling me? Okay. Okay. You feel like somebody has been trying to get the better of you or hold you down, outsmart you. This might be somebody who is in a boss relationship to you, or it might be somebody who you're close to, but you feel like this person isn't being very nice to you. Like they want to give you a hard time. It's making you quite guarded. Making you quite guarded because you feel like you don't have much capacity. You don't have too much materially. And you're feeling a little bit inadequate in relation to that. Oh, for some of you, you're doing this to someone else as well. That's how this works. But the Five of Pentacles is showing up. So either you're guarded or they're guarded. And if they're guarded, then you need to loosen up. But it's not about the 10 of Pentacles. There's this material focus that you're carrying where, oh my goodness, I have to measure up in this way. And if I don't, it's because this person is acting against me. They're holding me down in this way. And maybe they have been holding you down or bullying you a bit or denying you. Or you've been doing this to someone else in general. But it feels like it's not necessarily as major as that. So yes, fine, you get this person's number, you get the measure of them. But I don't feel like you have the role of then tearing into them, tearing them down, which is a risk at this time. This might be true on a broader scale. There might be groups of people who you feel this way towards, even structures you feel this way towards, and you want to go and tear them down. It needs to be a bit more patient than that, Leo. I feel like you need to be focusing more on work, on connections to people around you with the Three of Pentacles, but there's also, what are they showing me? Okay, there's also okay, somebody's been a bit cruel to you, a bit nasty to you, whatever. Okay, that's nasty. They shouldn't be doing that. However, You're getting focused on here and missing the bigger picture. You're allowing this person or this situation a lot of control and power over you. And yes, they have some, but that's not the whole picture. You need to be around those people you work well with, but you also need to recognize this as a challenge and an occasion that you're going to have to rise to with judgment. So I feel like whatever situation it is that you're dealing with, it feels karmic. It feels like a test for you. It feels like you need to surrender a bit of control. That seems to be the main thing. So yes, you can still focus on the projects you're engaged in, connect with people, but there's also a need to surrender a bit of control and just trust that this is going to be taken care of. Because I feel like this has been getting you down. You've been feeling like you're not enough. But the situation is calling for surrender more than anything else for you at this time, Leo. Release it. You're going to feel so much better when you do. Your final card is the Ace of Cups. And what that tells me is you've been seeing this as just a battle against somebody or a group of people potentially, but you're seeing this as your battle. But the actual battle is not to get locked in and trapped like this at this time. That is what is causing you the most difficulties. I know that sounds so obvious, but we all do it. We all fall into it, Leo. And I feel that as you surrender to this, as you relinquish control, as you lose this approach of, I'm going to have to do this, and this to get where I'm going. No, you need to sustain yourself on an immediate basis. But you keep judging yourself as not enough, Leo. And that is what you need to be moving past. And you're going to do that through surrender and trust because you are. And you're going to feel just much easier as you do. There's this huge release coming for you with the Ace of Cups, Leo. Huge release. And I also feel that as you do this, you're going to find support around you, love around you in a much greater way than before. I feel that people will step into your life coming out of the shadows, and you're going to feel suddenly loved, supported, surrounded by this love and affection. And it's going to be absolutely beautiful. But you need to step away from this conflict, from what you're fixating on, from this sense of lack, from this sense of having to battle in that way, Leo. That is your main work for this month. It looks really positive as you go through it. So you're struggling at the start of it, but it calls for surrender, trust, and faith more than anything else. It calls you not to focus so much on that big material picture. I hope that makes sense for you, Leo. Hi, Patricia. The next sign is going to be Virgo, and thank you all for your wonderful comments in the live chat. Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising for Gemini season. Virgo. Okay, Virgo. It's a restful month, I feel, for you, Virgo, in the first instance, and then a bit less so. And not in a bad way, but it might sort of feel like bang really fast. And I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So you're relaxing at this time. Some of you are curled up at home, like some of you are curled up with like a pet cat, is what they've shown me. So you're very big on creature comforts. Obviously, that's a big thing for you at the moment. That's helping you through. It's carrying you through. Others of you are going out and sunbathing, lying in the sun, soaking it up and being, this is better. This is nourishing. And all the while, things have been ticking over for you. But you've also been feeling maybe a little stuck, understimulated, undernourished, and trying to work out where you go from here. And obviously you're a planner, so that makes sense. But the rest will do you good, and then things are going to get more interesting as the month goes on. You might be a bit frustrated with how things are going in terms of your projects, in terms of work, in terms of life. But it's calm for a reason. It's calm so as you can get some rest and just pace yourself at this time. You're coming in as the Knight of Pentacles. So you're coming in this belief that you have to push things forward, but I don't feel you do. I absolutely don't feel you do. I feel like you're like, oh, nothing's happening. This is bad. It's all going wrong, but it's not. It's not about the 10 of Swords for you this month, Virgo. So I don't feel like there is loss. I don't feel like there is ending. I feel like there is transformation and beginning, and I feel that it's going to take you by surprise when it happens, and it's going to be really beautiful for a lot of you as well. You need that rest, and you need the space to adjust your thinking and your self-perception this month, Virgo. This is your main area of work. 6 of Swords is right there for you. And with the 6 of Swords, I feel this is so much accepting your mutable nature and therefore changing your perspective, your way of viewing things. So it's still working with the Gemini energy, and both signs ruled by Mercury. So with the 6 of Swords, the sense that I get is being able to change your perspective on things. Being able to change your perspective on what you truly want from life, what you desire, especially in terms of love this month, Virgo. And it's going towards love for you at this time. So I feel like as you rest up, you change your relationship to yourself, your perspective on yourself, but you also start to reevaluate what you want in your love life, what you want from a partner. What has changed there? What have you learned from your past relationships, past connections? What's worked? What hasn't worked? What did you learn, Virgo? You can't get to that by going on as you always were before and feeling like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere, because that's not the case. You are getting somewhere, but it needs this change in perspective. I feel like you will get a flash realization, and this may be about what you're looking for in a partner or in a relationship or your approach to relationships. But it may also be that you suddenly notice that somebody already in your life actually is exactly the person you're looking for, and they may come in like a flash as they notice you and you notice them. So that needs you to be open and not too rigid. Showing up as the Tower. So your old ideas, your old perspectives, your old belief systems, your old relationships to love, I feel are what are burning away at this time, to open things up for you. To open things up for you and to open you up to a Knight of Cups coming in, Virgo. So I feel like, and this is like, I can feel this literally somebody who you're suddenly noticing in this light. They're right there getting your attention. Big shift. Big shift, because you've altered your perspectives. You've moved away from your old ways of looking at this, your old ways of relating, maybe from more superficial ways of viewing people. And then you're noticing this person who is right there in front of you and may have been there for some time, but you've been blocked from seeing them in that light. Big shift for you. Just when you thought it wasn't going to happen, or felt it wasn't going to happen, right there in front of you. I hope that makes sense for you, Virgo. The next sign is going to be Libra. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising for Gemini season. Another air sign with the Sun in air now. Let's see how this looks for Libra. Libra. Excuse me for a second. Okay. You've been, and maybe you still are, in quite a cynical place at the moment, Libra. I feel like you're cynical about your life. You might be cynical or judgmental about some of the people around you. You might have quite a cynical view of the world as a whole. So you feel like you have all this understanding, but it's quite cynical in nature, and it's not actually very empowering for you. And because it's not very empowering for you, it might have been leading you into arguments. It might have been leading you into putting other people down, into being like, well, I see all of this, bang, bang, bang. Why can't you see that? You know? So you're like, you're viewing other people as a bit stupid or not as sharp as you, this kind of thing. Big ego trap. Big ego trap of the 8 of Swords, because this is actually stifling you. This idea that you know it all, that you know better than everyone else, that, well, that's shit and that's bullshit and that's rubbish. That's actually trapping you at this time. And you need to avoid that and avoid the conflicts that that's leading you into, Libra. It's not about the 5 of Swords for you, because the sense that I get is you're kind of like, I know everything, so therefore I can deal with that. I can answer that. I can tell them while they're talking shit. I can tell them why they're wrong. I can tell them about that and them about that and them about that. And you need to slow down. You need to slow down because you don't know as much as you think you do at this time, Libra. And it's actually a trap that is meaning that you're perpetuating the very things that you feel like you're against. You need to be a Knight of Swords at this time, Libra. And being a Knight of Swords does not mean that you talk at people. It doesn't mean that you have to tell everyone what you think about everything. I'm feeling something else instead. I'm feeling the Gemini energy coming in. So you need to be opening to different perspectives, different ways of viewing things, different approaches, because I feel like you're going to be surprised. I feel like this is true of the big picture, but it's true of the small picture as well. So you've been closing yourself off to opportunities. I feel like you've been closing yourself off to opportunities to connect to other people. You might have been closing yourself off potentially to work or career opportunities, and certainly to opportunities to help. And you're going to be taken by surprise if you can pull back. Suspend the idea that you know everything. Suspend the rigid ideas that you've been holding. It is about the Six of Swords for you. So I also feel like you're going to be examining, holding back, switching perspective. For some of you, the best way to switch perspective is going to be to travel somewhere. New scenery, new environment, different things, different people, maybe a different culture if you're traveling further afield. And going there and into these spaces under no illusions. Difficult to do, but absolutely necessary for you at this time, Libra. You've been getting yourself into trouble, boxing yourself in, and it's not helping you. It's really not helping you, Libra. So this is your work over this month, is to relax that a bit. Allow new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of doing things to come in, because I feel like you're actually going to want to go and do something that you had ruled out in the past, that you were cynical about, that you thought was dumb or stupid or not practical, not worth it, not a good use of energy. You need to be in a relaxed state to accept what's coming in for you, and it comes in with the Wheel of Fortune, Libra. And what I'm feeling with the wheel here is a need to be open to receive new ways of doing things, new opportunities, new ways of understanding, new views on a small level, but also maybe new worldviews. You can't be this rigid, this locked in. This is true for the collective. Like anyone who thinks they have all the answers will doom themselves and potentially everyone else anyway, so don't. But there's this need for this openness at this time. So drop the bravado, drop the need to be right and know everything, Libra, because you don't have that. Allow your mind to be changed. Allow your views to be tested, to readjust, to realign, because it's going to open you to new connections, new ways of doing things, new opportunities. That is going to benefit you a huge amount, and that's your work for this month. I hope that makes sense for you, Libra. That's working with that air energy for an air sign. Feeling less stifled, less trapped when you're doing that to yourself. The next sign is going to be Scorpio. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising for Gemini season. Scorpio. Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio. Okay. Complicated picture for you. You're quite het up. You're kind of, you have like, it's a bit like the Libra cynicism, but it's not quite the same thing. Like you're sort of laughing at a lot of stuff, running a lot of stuff down, but it's in this sort of a, you know, it's this sort of, it's a defense mechanism, I feel. It's designed to hold you where you are. It's designed to keep you quite rigid. So this is sort of, you have attachments to situations, to people, to ways of doing things, and it means that you're not seeing when the writing's on the wall, when the time for something is up, when you need to go and do something else. You're not accepting something, you're not accepting the hurt or the difficulty something is causing you. You're not accepting the wounding something is causing you. You're not accepting the negative messages that you're internalizing from something. You're sort of laughing it off. You're laughing at the very idea that that could be the case. So someone sees that in you and you're kind of trying to laugh it off. No, I'm fine. I'm fine with the Four of Wands. Every day's a party. I'm absolutely fine. No one needs to worry about me. Everything's great. It's not, though. It's not. And nor is this leading you somewhere with the Ace of Swords, nor are you light and able to move as long as you're taking this approach, Scorpio. Something has wounded you, has hurt you, or is still hurting you on an ongoing basis. May be triggering old trauma, or may literally just be hurting you, oppressing you, harming you from the inside. The Three of Swords is showing up for you, and so is the Ace of Cups. So I feel really, really kind of deep emotional wounding. Really deep emotional wounding from a situation that you should have left behind a long time ago, or an attitude you should have left behind a long time ago, or an approach you should have left behind a long time ago. Because this feels like you're harming yourself by staying in this place and acting like everything is fine. For some of you, okay, for some of you, there's an addiction issue here. Okay. For some of you, there's an addiction issue. Could be to a substance. Could be to a way of doing certain things in life. a way of being with people. But there's an addiction issue for some of you. That is where the harm is coming from. You are masking something really deeply. And addiction is a real problem that a lot of us face at various times. It's not something to be judged or to be shamed. This comes about from a deep wounding. It's a coping method. Sometimes it's a coping method that's necessary to get us through certain stages of life. But there's a need to be mindful of that as a method and to look to work on and move away and move past it. May well be alcoholism for some of you, and if so, my heart goes out to you. You don't need to be judged or shamed over this, but you do need to be able to reach out for some support, counseling, guidance, community around this, Scorpio. Okay, and for some of you, this may be an addiction to unhealthy relationships. It may even be an addiction to some spiritual practices that are lifting you or moving you away from connection with people and with yourself, however well intentioned. Those are the things that I feel are coming up. You're trapped in some sense by this. It's hurting you on the inside, and you are going to need to come to terms with and start to address this at this time, rather than acting like everything is fine. You're moving towards an 8 of Cups. You see the bottles being cast off and left behind, left aside. So you go off towards something new, Scorpio. That is your focus, your area of work for this month. It requires you to be honest with yourself. It requires you not to judge or shame yourself, but to recognize that you have stuff to work on here. I hope that makes sense for you. Again, I feel that's specific to some. It can be playing out in a variety of ways, but it feels painful, and you deserve all the support in the world around it. I hope that makes sense for you, Scorpio. The next sign is going to be Sagittarius. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising for Gemini season. Sag. Sagittarius. Okay, Sag. Okay. Okay. Emotional wounding is a real theme for this month, and what we're doing about it seems to be a real theme. What you've been locked into, trapped into, well, it's driving what we're clinging to. You're getting wounded, Sagittarius. Something is wounding you. I feel like You're in a situation that doesn't serve you. It's most likely a work situation. Some of you have been pushing yourself really hard to stay the course, to keep doing what you're doing, to study hard, to work hard, to go in, do your shifts, do your work, do your studies, go home, repeat. As long as I can keep going, it's going to be okay. You're putting up with a lot. So some of you are being treated very badly in the workplace. Some of you are being treated in a bullying or abusive way in the workplace. And some of you are being taken advantage of in the workplace. And you're trying to keep going, but it's taking a big toll on you. And it's not something that you should be putting up with, Sagittarius. And I feel this is the realization you're getting this month. It's coming to light, and it becomes about what you do about it. With the Eight of Pentacles, you've been attempting to just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm strong enough, I'm powerful enough, I will deal with this in my own way. But you've been trying to hold a lot down. Talk yourself through it, counsel yourself through it, calm yourself. Use whatever tricks you have in the book to keep yourself going. But you've been holding a lot down. I don't feel you need to. With the Dragon Tamer in what this is not for you this month, Sagittarius, you don't have to exhibit this level of self-discipline, self-control that gets you hurt. You really don't. Talk to people around you. I feel like you will find support from other people around you at work, or other people involved and engaged in similar work, because what's being done to you is not okay. Three of Pentacles, 10 of Swords. You've been feeling trapped, but you're not. You've been trying to deal with it, but it's not working. And that's because you're not going in with force. I feel like you need to go in with force and with support. And that might mean reporting your boss. That might mean really just tearing down what you've been holding off, who you've been accepting this from. If it's not somebody who's your boss or an authority, but it's like clients or whatever else, it's like, no, actually, ask other people about this, but there's something you can do. There's something you can do to protect yourself, to change this, to take your own power back and to regain your own power here, Sagittarius. Final card coming up for you is the Emperor. So this is about regaining control, regaining your own power, and being able to face this down straight on and deal with it. Deal with it, deal with it, not just put up with it. Seeing with the Dragon Tamer and with the Emperor, it's about being able to seize the impetus, do something about it. The Three of Pentacles for me is help from people around you in a work environment for me. You don't have to go it alone. You don't have to put up with this and do it all alone. And I feel that you then free yourself from that trap. You turn the tables this month, Sagittarius. It's kind of vital that you do. I hope that makes sense for you. The next sign is going to be Capricorn. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising for Gemini season. Capricorn. Cappies. Nice. Okay, Capricorn. Love predominantly for you. I feel like you've been looking at somebody or a situation, wondering if it can be what you want it to be. So this might be happening in love, or there may be, for some of you, because it's Capricorn, there's work going on as well. So there may be a thing where you're like, is this the right job for me? The right direction for me to be going in, the right direction to move in? And you've been doubting your own judgment and maybe what's right in front of you and what you felt from very early on. But you are finding that what you believed is the case, and it's going to start to move for you this month. You're going to move forward really quickly this month, Capricorn. This feels fantastic, and it just requires a bit of impetus and focus from you for that to happen. What it's about is the lovers. So I feel like you commit to this situation. For a lot of you, it is a love situation this month because you're realizing that is who I want. That is what I want. That is where I want to be, who I want to be with. And you're becoming less and less doubtful. It's not about the 5 of Pentacles. You're not going to be without. You don't have to doubt. It's not going to be a struggle. It's not going to be hard. Right there for you, as long as you reach and as long as you then put your energy and your mental focus in. Ace of Wands, Knight of Swords. Direct, direct, direct. Very, very fast, but you need to focus your efforts and go in that direction, Capricorn. No more umming and ahhing. A straightforward charge in that direction. You've been doubting it. You've been like, can I stay the course? Am I enough for this person, for this situation, for this job? Am I enough? Bit of imposter syndrome, but you are. You don't need to doubt the situation. If it's a love situation, you don't need to doubt the other person. You certainly don't need to doubt yourself. You're very capable of staying the course and moving a long way. Your final card is the 9 of Wands. And with the 9 of Wands, I feel like you're going to realize that you're in the right place, doing the right thing, going in the right direction. Breaking down walls, breaking down barriers, internal barriers especially, and being able to move. If this is a love situation, maybe an air sign involved as well as the Knight of Swords, but I feel it may just be the Gemini energy that you're grasping onto, and it's freeing you, meaning that you're more agile, more able to accept things and go with them. So more mentally agile, crucially, but you have the firepower to back it up with the Ace of Wands. Again, if it's a love situation, it may also be a fire sign. So we'll see about that. But big changes, big movement for you, Capricorn. Just trust what is right in front of you. It's all you really have to do, and then move on it. It will shift quickly. And I hope that makes sense for you. The next sign is going to be Aquarius. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising for Gemini season. Aquarius. Aquarius. Celebration time for you, Aquarius. You're going to have something to celebrate. Feel that very, very strongly. So you're starting off with a bit of rest going into this month, Aquarius. You've been taking a break, or you're taking a break at this time. You're giving yourself less of a hard time, giving other people less of a hard time as well, not overthinking things so much, a lot more fluid, a lot easier to deal with. So you're an air sign that feels far more comfortable at this time. Four of Swords, that's where you're starting from. That's quite comfortable. You're also getting a bit of insight, and it's encouraging you. You don't have to make radical changes this month, Aquarius. This is all about feeling good about where you're at in order that you can build from there in the future. It's not about judgment for you. So if you've been giving yourself a hard time, or other people have been giving you a hard time, that kind of stops now. There's no need for it. There's no need for that stuff at all. Because of the rest, you're going to be able to commit a little more to what you're doing and value yourself and what you've achieved, Aquarius. You have the Devil and the Four of Wands showing up in terms of your steps and also in terms of your advice. So you've been taking a rest, and now you're looking at the harmful ways that you've self-destructed, that you've held yourself down, held yourself back. There's a few of, I feel that there's stuff around negative self-image coming up. You found it really hard to celebrate and value yourself, Aquarius. And because you found it hard to celebrate and value yourself, you projected it outwards and given other people a hard time, and you're putting a stop to that now. Much more restful, much more easy, not so painful. But you're kind of recognizing what that was, where it's come from, the impact it's had, that kind of thing. And now you're moving into the space where you value yourself and people around you and your surroundings that bit more with the Four of Wands. So it feels quite safe, quite stable, a useful base to start to do things, to do new things. Much more positive for you at this time. Allow yourself to feel good. Allow yourself to feel the relief. Allow yourself to project that outwards instead for a bit. You don't need to give yourself or anyone else a hard time anymore. That comes to an end at this time. Allow yourself to feel yourself, and also to get out into the sunshine, to connect with people, everything around that. And just to feel more grounded, more stable, and then more able to build from here as a Knight of Pentacles. Don't push yourself so hard. Don't give yourself such a hard time. You're where you need to be, Aquarius. You're going to be moving forward, but it's not going to like be a leap from here to here. It's much more gentle. You can take a rest, take a break, but most of all, you can stay out of trouble in terms of giving yourself or other people a hard time. That's the main thing for you this month. Take it a bit easier, value where you're at, value the people around you, and kind of recognize where you've been tearing yourself or other people down. It's the main work you'll be doing this month, and it's going to help you to feel more grounded, more stable, and more able to move on a few things. The final sign is going to be Pisces. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising for Gemini season. Okay, Pisces. Okay. 4 majors and a court card. Lots going on. You're laid back, I feel, Pisces. Maybe a little too laid back. So there's surrender and there's trust and there's faith. And then there's just not doing the things that you need to, if that makes sense. There's a need to be a little more active than you might be at this time. So yes, enjoy the nice weather, enjoy the sense of calm, enjoy the lighter energy. You're a daydreamer anyway, so that's like taken as like red for you, but you also need to be acting. You're coming in as the magician, so you do need a bit of mental activity in this Gemini energy, Pisces. You absolutely do. You need to be kind of working out new ideas, new ways of seeing things, new ways of doing things. But there's also a really strong focus on both learning and healing at this time. Healing especially is a big thing for you because you're obviously quite drained, maybe carrying some wounds, but you might just be waiting too much for the world or the universe to just shift that for you. I don't feel it's going to. I feel you have work to do, Pisces. It's not about the wheel of fortune for you. So it's not just about waiting for something to come in. Instead, there is a need to commit to your own healing and your own development and to do something about it at this time, Pisces. Take advantage of the lightness of the energy, the clearer thinking to do something about it. You have the Hierophant showing up and the King of Swords. The Hierophant here is Chiron. So I've gone to healing. I've gone to needing to engage with somebody who will give you the tools to help heal yourself, but may also just heal you directly. Energy healing is a big thing here with the King of Swords, but it's also about being able to have that within you and be quite decisive. You see, in order to heal, you're going to have to commit to it. I actually want to work on this now. I actually want to move this forward. I need it to go somewhere. And it's going to require you to let go of a few things. And part of this, I feel, is an attachment to where you're at in relation to the world, in relation to your process. Maybe a belief that you're never going to be better than this, never going to heal from this, it's never going to improve. It has to be like this. That's the stuff that you need to move away from this month, Pisces. That requires an effort, it requires a commitment, it requires being decisive about this and going and pursuing the help that you need. Your final card is the Tower. And I feel that what is burning away with the Tower is your resistance to healing or moving forward. The stuff that you've clung on to because it's made sense and it's held you steady, but actually it's holding you back now. Beliefs about yourself, about the world, things that you've been like, oh, it will always be like this. So there's some foundational stuff that has to go. And that requires you to commit to an approach to healing that allows you to really start to deal with that, really start to remove it. It's not going to be removed for you, but I feel that you'll suddenly reach understandings and insights that allow that to go over the course of this month. But it needs you to commit to your own healing and your own process, Pisces. I hope that makes sense for you. That is all 12 signs. Thank you all so much for being with me through those. Please remember to like and share the video. If you'd like to book a personal reading around anything that's come up around there or anything else that you're facing in your life or that you need guidance with, please feel free to get in touch. My details are just in the box below. If my work helps you, please think about making a donation. My details for PayPal are also in the box below. If anybody has any questions that they'd like a quick card pull on, please pop them in the live chat and I will see which of you I am drawn to. Where there's a lot that's come up there. Couple of questions coming up now. Let me see which of you I'm drawn to. Nora R, should I focus on studying or should I start working this month? Or do you think I can manage both? Thank you. Okay, Nora, let me have a look for you. There's no wrong option here. It's about what you're drawn to more than anything else. Studying is really positive with the 10 of Cups showing up. So I feel that your relationship to yourself will drastically improve through study. I feel there's a wonderful opportunity in front of you. If you're adding in work with the Prince of Swords, be a little careful that you don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't force the issue. Don't force yourself into situations that are not right for you. The studying situation is right for you. The work situation, it may take a bit longer for you to bring in or reach what is exactly right for you. So with the Star, feel for guidance and wait for the right opportunity to come in, which I feel it will with the 3 of Wands. I hope that makes sense for you. Study feels wonderful and fulfilling. And I feel like there's a love or family connection connected to studying as well. You don't want to miss that. Love Goddess, what does the future hold for me and my Sagittarius? Let's look at what you can be doing to improve the future that you have with them, shall we, Love Goddess? Okay. There's a lot that is going unsaid and unspoken in this relationship at this time. I feel like you might be younger than your Sagittarius. I certainly feel that it's a bit of naivety and rose tint that you hold in relation to them. You're coming in as the Princess of Cups. They're coming in as the Queen of Wands. So you might feel they're definitely the Queen of Wands. They're a fire sign. You may well be a water sign. So it wouldn't surprise me if you're coming in as Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. But you have a bit of a rose tint in front of you in relation to them. They are quite commanding, very charming, very attractive, very sexual. And you're far more romantically inclined, and you may be quite dreamy in relation to them. So you may actually want quite different things. With the Nine of Swords showing up, I feel that there's communication and conversations that you are avoiding having, stuff going unsaid. You have quite a lot of anxiety about this relationship, and that's why it's going unsaid. And you need, honestly, to talk with each other, communicate with each other about what you want, about your hopes and dreams, and about your fears. There needs to be better communication in this relationship so as you can decide whether it's worth pursuing or not with the Eight of Cups. That is the main picture at the moment. It really needs you to communicate openly and honestly with them, because at the moment I feel like you're handing over a lot of power. They obviously mean a huge amount to you, but they may take advantage of that as well. And so there's this need to communicate, be on a level, assert yourself, and make your decisions based on that. I hope that makes sense for you, love goddess. Let me see if there are any more questions that I'm drawn to. Shine bright. What do my guides want me to know about my love life right now? I want clarity and positive changes. I've waited so long. Okay, shine bright. Okay. Okay, you said you've waited so long. I feel that you're kind of waiting for like the dream package. Shine bright, if that makes sense. You're waiting for like the dream package. You kind of want the forever love. You want somebody who you're gonna have a family with, long-term home with. You're very focused in that direction with the 10 of Cups. And if something isn't going to be that, you're going to bail out really quickly at the moment. 5 of Pentacles. Very all or nothing approach. There's a need to take a slightly slower and more grounded approach for you with the 7 of Pentacles. So I feel like you need something that is going to develop over time, become more over time, that is going to challenge you and them to grow within the relationship. But you're in this all or nothing phase, which is causing you difficulties. I feel there's somebody very close to you who's going to be showing for you. They're an earth sign, probably. Could be Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. They show up as the Queen of Pentacles. This is somebody who's grounded, quite nurturing. Don't load too much onto them too early. Oh my goodness, you have to run away and have a family with me. Slow, put into it slowly over time. Allow it to develop and become something quite personal with the Three of Pentacles. It's going to help you a great deal. At the moment, this all or nothing approach is blocking you. You need to build something slower and more over time in order for it to be lasting and to become something that is truly fulfilling for you. I hope that makes sense for you. Shine bright. Lisa Perez, can I get any advice? Let me have a look for you, Lisa. Lisa Perez. Okay, advice for Lisa. Okay, Lisa. Okay, there are mother issues around you, Lisa. Messages that you took on, views that you took on regarding yourself from your mother, which feel unhealed at this time. They feel unhealed at this time, and when you try and feel into this, it gets you very, very het up, ready to go on the warpath. And so you've been like not confronting it head on because it causes you to blow up. Page of Swords coming up for you. So you move into this mode, this very, very active mode that wants to kind of know, I'm going to talk it all out, say everything that I need to, it's on my mind, but it's very, very assertive, very quite aggressive, quite difficult. You've got real stuff to work through, but you need to be grounded. You need to be connected to the earth. You have meditation showing up as your challenge. So you need to really feel into the ways in which this has affected you, driven your behavior, influenced you. And it reaches a long way into the past, and it drives a lot of emotional responses. This is a major area of healing and work for you. So it's not something that I'm going to be able to obviously give you all the answers to right now, but it really needs you to ground, feel connected to the earth. So your mother hasn't always been the most supportive person to you. And so you need to reach for Mother Earth in these circumstances to feel grounded, nourished, supported, and be able to heal in that context. And it's about healing the past with the Six of Cups. Now, when I say healing the past, this doesn't mean having to disappear into the past, live in the past either. But it's through understanding how this has shaped you, what kind of stuff this has driven within you. It's then about recognizing the patterns, the thought forms, the behaviors, and starting to let go of them. Because I feel like there are times when you feel quite pessimistic about the future as a result of this. Completely understandable. That's why you're sort of quite ready to sort of tear everything down at times. It's a natural response. Don't hold that in that sense. But it is stuff that you're going to have to work through. I feel for you, this is about breaking that pattern. It's about being able to work through and break that pattern in order that you don't then treat young people or children that way as well. That's the sense that I get. I feel at the moment you kind of hold so much of this to yourself. It can make you quite closed off. So it's being able to accept this, ground into the earth, but be able then to allow yourself to heal, for your heart to open over time. And that's going to take real work. It's not going to happen overnight. But I feel that you can absolutely do that. And I feel like it's going to allow you to be far more optimistic about the future. I hope that makes sense for you. That's quite deep. It's a major thing to work on. But I hope that makes sense for you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all for the questions that you've asked. Please remember to like and share the video. If you'd like to book a full personal reading, please feel free to do so. My details are just in the box below. If my work helps you, you'd like to make a donation or leave me a tip, my PayPal details are also in the box below. Please remember to subscribe and enable notifications. Please follow my pages on Facebook and on Instagram. And if you'd like to get in touch for any other reason, if you have any questions or you'd like to hire me for an event or collaborate with me, please feel free to get in touch anytime. I'll be very happy to connect with you. Wishing you all the best for Gemini season. It is a lighter energy, although there's still work to do. Try and flow through it, work with it, let your hair down at times, but allow yourself to just shift a bit of perspective and don't put yourself under pressure to have all the answers yet. Big trap. Don't do that. I hope all of that helps all of you. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you all again really soon.